Hey, y'all, I'm Allie. Welcome to Little Hill Homestead. You guys know that most of the time we are in the kitchen or the garden, but we're doing a lot of craft shows. We're doing a lot of stuff in our Etsy shop. And a lot of you guys have been saying, like, hey, we want a few tutorials on how you're making some of these products, or how do you come up with your ideas, or how do you write patterns? So I thought I'd bring you along on today's little journey. We'll see how this goes. So I have quite a few people have requested a couple things to go into our Etsy shop. And so I've made a couple sample, they're over there on the floor, but I've made a couple sample things. And I wanted to bring you along as I make what I'm hoping is going to be a good version of this. So we're going to go step by step in building a pattern to make a Bible sleeve or a big book sleeve. I started messing with one. Okay, step one. Keep a notepad, because if your brain works like mine, moves a mile a minute, I write things down as I go so that when I go, what did I do? It's written down. So I keep this notepad. This has pages and pages. It's every tote bag I've ever made. It's everything I make is written in here size-wise for cutting things out. How many pieces of stuff you need, which batting we use, does it need a zipper? Keep notes. Super helpful. So a while ago, somebody asked me if I could make an iPad sleeve. So I made this one just as a messing with the idea. It's far too big. Basically, my iPad, I had to put it and fold like this. And I was like, that's just too big. But when somebody said, could I make a Bible sleeve? I thought, let me see if this fits. So I have a compact Bible, like a standard size Bible that I keep in our living room where I sit in the morning, I drink my coffee, and I do my devotional in the morning. That's a more standard size. So I thought I'm going to start big and then work backwards, because I also have this Bible. This one, it's in like a paper because I just got it, but it's a note-taking Bible. And so it's a large one, and it has a softer cover. So it's not a hardback, but I wanted to see if I can make a sleeve that fits this perfectly. Well, I had this one, so I thought, let me just see. Oh my gosh, y'all. It's not an iPad sleeve. Apparently I was making a Bible sleeve and not even realizing I was doing it. So what does a Bible sleeve need? Well, I didn't want things with bows. A lot of them have big bows, and that to me is like cumbersome. I didn't want that. So I got myself a little zipper. So I'm thinking of putting a zipper up top here and making this slightly shorter because it's just a little too tall. So I have my original measurements written down, and I'm going to take these down a notch to make it fit with my zipper. So I'll show you how we do a zipper as well. It's going to be padded. So this has batting on the inside as well as it's lined. I definitely wanted something, since they are like a softer cover, that could protect it a little bit. And the other thing is, with a note-taking Bible, which is what this is going to be more for, is a larger Bible. A lot of people like to keep, for me, it was like this when you go to church and you get the paper flyer, a lot of them do it on your phone now. You could tuck that in it, or your pen could slip down in a pocket that sits on the front of it. So you have like a little all-in-one type of a situation. So that's where my brain started. Now let's see where we can take it. I really would like to do, the person wanted purple as their color. So I have this purple gingham I was going to try, and then this purple and white, like cute floral. So I thought those would be beautiful together. I just have to figure out what order I'm going to do these in to make a pocket on the front make sense. She's all over the place. I'm telling you guys, this is how my brain comes up with these patterns, though. This is how you get to an end result. Amazing, right? So my original Bible sleeve that I made here, let's see, it's a finished size of 14. So I had cut it to 15 originally, 15 long by about 12. So my original was 15 by 12. My width is fine. So I'm going to leave it at 12, but I'm going to take my top to a 14 instead. I'm thinking if it's 1 inch shorter, let me measure it. If it's 1 inch shorter with a zipper, it's going to really nicely fit this Bible. So that's where I'm going. I need a front and a back, and I need 2 pieces for my inside, then a pocket. But I'm only going to do the pocket on the front. I don't want it on the front and the back. I'm not doing this one with a handle or anything like that. I was originally thinking like, you know, the ones that everybody carried in the 90s. They probably still do. But I didn't want to go with the handle. I wanted simple. So that's where we're heading. Anyways, okay, let's get started. So I'm thinking of this gingham as the front and the back. And then this on the front being the pocket. So you kind of get like a two-tone thing going. And then possibly using this on the inside as well. So let's get to cutting. We use these like plastic rulers, and we have rotary cutters. They're very sharp, but they're super effective. And then these are like a self-healing mat. We get all this on Amazon because it's really the cheapest place to get this stuff now that has your marks. So I like to slide. I'm ambidextrous when I cut with a rotary cutter. It's about the only thing that my left arm is really good at. So I usually will cut the far edge off so I have a nice clean place to start. And we are going to make this, what did we say? 12 by 14. So I'm going to do 12 inches wide, and then I'll cut it to 14 inches tall. The way fabric works, it's usually 42 to 44 inches, and it comes with a fold in the middle. So you'll get to know fabric the more you do stuff. So I'm going to cut 12 inches. So I'm going to line my my measuring tool, my plastic ruler up on the 12-inch mark. And then I'm going to use my rotary cutter to make a slice. We're just going to move this out of the way. So now we have a 12-inch strip. This is going to be the face, and then we're going to make a pocket. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to cut off this far edge has like the little fuzzy stuff. I'm going to cut that off. Remnant edge. I can't remember what it's called. Whatever it's called. We're going to cut that off so we have a nice clean edge. And then I'm going to flip it over. I know this is not the most easy way to do this. If you guys do sewing, you do you. This is just what works for me. And then I'm going to cut it at 14. Right? Double check. 14. So I have two pieces now. I'm going to save that because that'll probably be the inside of my pocket right there. So now I have two pieces that are 12 by 14 for the front of and the back of our Bible sleeve. My zipper is long enough that I'll have room to sew it in and be good to go. Okay, so I have that. Now I need my inside and my pocket. So I'm thinking of making this the inside because it's really cute. Kind of like a little hidden treasure inside there. But I do want the pocket to be this as well because it's really pretty and I don't want it to be all hidden in the inside. So I have quite a few yards of this because I tend to use a lot of this one. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. Make sure you have a clean edge, which I already do. And we're going to do 12. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to trim it and do a 14. And with that scrap, we'll be able to make that pocket I was talking about. So we got our 12. I store my fabric underneath here. I really need to get down there and fold it all, but I haven't done that yet. You turn this and trim it up. Oh, there's little dots on this like rough edge. Sometimes I can sew them into it and not trim them off, but sometimes it's just not worth the effort. So there we go. Trim it off, flip it, and cut your fabric at 14. That's where we are aiming. 14. Right? 12 by 14. That's where we're going, y'all. So now I have my two scraps. That's what I'm going to use for my pocket. But I have my front, my back, and my insides. Did I cut them the same? Oh my gosh. Did I just cut that wrong? No, we're good. Okay. So I have my front and my back, my inside. Those are going to sit to the side now. Now my pocket. So we're going to sew our pocket and pin it on before we do any other sewing to make sure it works. Like I was saying, I want this to be, let me get our front. This is how my brain works, you guys. This is like when people say, oh, can I buy your pattern? This is why I don't sell patterns, because this is genius at work here. So this is my face. How high would you want your pencil pouch that makes sense? So I'm just grabbing a pen that I have here. How many inches tall is my pen? My pen is 6 inches. So if I was to do a little pouch this is almost perfect actually. That tall. You can hook your pens on it, but if you had like a little like whatever you need to slide into it, it would also work. So I'm going to keep that exact amount as my pocket. This is doubled over. So I'm just going to keep that as my pocket. That was easy. This ends up being about 15 because it's folded, like it's 2 pieces. 15 by 12 because it was the trimmed edge. Now, for a pocket, I tend to like to sew a little line on here so that it stays like a pocket when you sew it all on here. So I'm going to go to the machine and sew one straight line across the top of our pocket. Oh, I forgot our batting. Let's cut batting, y'all. Okay, this is scrap now. I'm going to move that to the side. I have a scrap bucket down here. This is the batting that I use in most of the bags and things that I make. Anything that's going to be for kitchen or microwave, we use 100% cotton. I have a huge roll of it over here. But for the stuff that I want, like my wristlets, some of those are cotton too. It just kind of depends on what I've got on hand. But I like the squish this one. The squish this one does. So I am not, if Shawn is in here, he would kill me because he is very like, you lay it out and you measure it like a normal person. I am a middle child. So I run with scissors and I just do it. So I tend to just kind of fold it and trim around it. I'm hoping you guys can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to fold it so it's doubled. And then I'm going to take my piece of fabric that I'm going to be using, find a nice pretty edge that I can mess up and trim around it. So it's doubled up. So when I trim this, and I don't use a ruler, I know, like I said, Shawn, very precise. Me, I'm in creative mode. Let me trim that up all the way around. One more side to go. Shawn's at his real job, so he can't say anything. So now I have my batting, my faces, I've got all my stuffs. Okay, I feel like I'm in a good place. I am going to go to the sewing machine and do a couple things. So let me bring you over there, but I'm getting my pieces kind of laid out really quickly so I know what I'm working with. I have my front and my back. I have my insides, so I'm putting my batting with my cotton, one for each. I like to use all cotton fabric. You have to be really careful when you shop now because a lot of places sneak polyester in, and especially with what we do, that doesn't do well in kitchens. So avoid the polyester. I'm a finger licker, so I usually wash things before I sell them. For our insides, I'm going to do whatever your pattern is, faces together. So I want to see the back side of my pattern here on both sides. I'm hoping you can see that. I'm going to pin this so that I have 2 ways of clipping things. I hope I'm not driving you guys nuts yet. I use these little plastic clips. So they sell the brand name ones. I don't even remember what they're called. They're a little bit skinnier. I love these ones, but they're like $14 for 10 of them. It's ridiculous. They don't break though. So now I get these and they're like literally $100 for $5. These snap a lot when I try to put them on thick stuff, but it's fine. The other option you've got are good old pins. I like to use ones that have a ball on the end that's a color so I know where they are because I had an incident when I was in junior high with a pin and I have a scar this big on my leg. So I sew through pins when I'm doing stuff like this. So I'm just going to do some quick pinning, just in a couple spots to hold these together. And with this one, and I kind of use the same principle for a lot of my bags that I do, that I'm going to show you right now, at the bottom. So if this is my top and this is my bottom, I'm going to leave a gap of about 4 inches because we're going to sew this together and then you need to flip it inside out like an inside out shirt. So I'll show you that later. I'm trying to give you super basics. So I have a 4-inch gap right here between my 2 pins that we're not going to sew. So I will show you that when we go to the sewing machine. I have our pocket that I'm going to put a nice cute line at the top, taking that to the sewing machine. I've got our batting with our cotton that I'm going to do a quick quilting on to show you how we do that. So let's head to the machine, you guys. The first thing I want to do is do at the top, so where the fold is, which is not where I am, of my pocket. I want to sew a line at the top just to kind of make it look finished on our final tote bag, Bible sleeve. So I line it up at the edge of my foot, which is just about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And all I'm going to do is do one little stitch on it to make it look pretty. That's it. My pocket is done. You guys see that I just did it right here? I don't know if you can see that. Anyways, okay, I'm going to set that to the side. The next thing I want to do is sew my liner bag really quickly. So my liner bag, like I said, I want to leave a gap at the bottom, and I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance on this as well. Let's do a 1/2 inch. I'm going to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I lied. Where's my little doodad? Nope, it's on this machine. I use a magnet. It's like a magnetic seam guide. So all I do is measure 1/2 inch from my needle, and I set this slightly in front of it so that it helps me stay at a 1/2 inch as I'm sewing. So all I'm going to do is drop my needle down. I'm going to do a back stitch at the top, and then I'm going to follow my 1/2 inch till I get to that pin at the bottom where I want to stop. So we're going to get to the corner, and we're going to lift our needle up, and we're going to pivot. And I've done this enough times, I kind of know where a 1/2 inch is. Sometimes I have to go a little more, but pivot and then turn the corner, go. When you get to your needle that we put in, that's our stop point. Do a back stitch, and then you're good. Cut your thread and move to the other needle that we set down. Do the same thing back and forth. And that just makes it so that when we flip this and sew it later, it's not going to pull the threads and tear. We're just going to finish our 1/2 inch seam allowance around the edge and just finish it off. So that is our bag for the inside. This has got pins. I'm going to take those out just because I don't want to kill myself on them. I'm really good at stabbing myself. Okay, so our pocket's done and our liner are done. Now we need to do our quilting. So I'm going to take my little magnet off. For quilting, they sell like laser lights and all this crazy stuff that you can use. Y'all, I don't use that stuff. I figured out that if I take, I'm a person that does whatever works. I have some shipping tape, and I have this little, it's for like, if you're like threading a hoodie and you want to pull a cord through, it's for that. So it has this little hook on the end. You can use anything, like a chopstick as well will work for this. All I do is I'm going to line this up at about a 2 inch line for quilting. So I'm going to make this sit at like a 2 inch out from my needle. And I'm going to tape it onto my machine. I'm at 2 inches. This is not the most effective way, but it is definitely the cheapest, and it works for me really well. So that's why I do it. Okay, there's probably gadgets, but I don't like to spend money. So it's taped on there, and it's just a slight bit off of my machine. That's how I know where I'm going to quilt. So for this one, let's see. I'm thinking quilting lines long ways is going to make the most sense for what I'm working with. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to line up the edge of my fabric with our little doodad that we just taped on there. And I'm just going to do a straight line. Then I'll shift it over and I'll show you. So let's just quilt one line. I just follow this the whole way. When I get to the end, I'm going to pull my fabric up here. And where I just sewed, I'm going to line up with that hook that we have taped on here. So I'm going to now follow my hook on this line. I don't even look at my needle. I only look at that. So I'm going to do that till the whole thing is quilted. You can do diamond patterns using this thing. You can go diagonals. You can do whatever you want. This is essentially what I use on my wristlets, and anything that is quilted, I use this thing and I just change where it sits. I just don't like to spend money. We got one more to go on this guy, and then we'll have it all quilted. Then we'll go back over the table. All right, so the whole thing now has quilt lines. It's kind of hard to see, I know, but that one's done. Let me do one more for you. I will cut some of this out, don't worry. Have my liner fabric, I have my pocket ready to go, and I have my fronts and backs. I need to trim off any of the excess cotton batting or the batting that we have going on so that I can attach the pocket and we can move forward. So all I do is line up my plastic little ruler with my fabric so that when I roll on it, it just trims off any of the batting. You're doing that just so you don't have the bulk. Let me get these all lined up. And don't forget, I've written everything down so that if this works out perfectly, I'm good. And if your Bible is smaller or the book that you want to put in here is smaller, or if you do want to make it for an iPad, you just adjust your measurements to fit whatever it is you're going to put inside of it. Pretty simple, right? I think it's like everything else. Sewing is just straight lines. And once you get the hang of it, you just go for it. What's the worst that's going to happen? I've thrown away fabric, but most of the time you can reuse it and do other things with it. So, all right. Okay, so there's all of my edges that are in the trash. The next thing I want to do is attach my pocket that we did. So the edge that I sewed to look pretty, I'm going to put at the top so that it's where our pens and stuff are going to sit. And I'm just going to line it up with my bag so that when you're using it, your stuff can slide in there. I think that's cute. I might add a stitch line in the middle so it doesn't like gape out, but I'll go and judge that later. So I'm going to pin this in. Same thing, I do the balls facing in so I can sew over my pins if needed. And do we need a pocket? That's my other question. We'll see. I kind of think it looks cute, so I'm okay with keeping it. Okay, so let me show you now. I'm not going to sew that because once I sew this all together, it'll trap that pocket. So we'll be just fine. So I have my front and my back. And I have my, oh shoot. I did that wrong, you guys. I should not have sewn this because I need to attach my zipper. If I was not doing a zipper, then I did it right, but I'm doing a zipper. Let me cut another piece of fabric really quick and I'll save this for another project. Now we have our 12 by 14. It's not sewn. We're good. Y'all, I'm telling you, this is how creative genius works. So I have my, oops, I just heard a pin drop. There we go. I'm really good at dropping pins everywhere. They hook on things. So now we have our two quilted pieces, our insides, and our pocket. She's losing her mind, y'all. So 2 pieces, not the sewn one. I'm going to get that like out of here so I don't confuse myself. So for a zipper, they're not as hard as some people make them seem. And it took me a long time to sew a zipper because I was always terrified of a zipper. It's not that complicated, y'all. I have a really thin foot on my Juki as well as my Weber machine. It's like a thinner foot, and so it works great for zippers. If you don't have that, most machines come with a zipper foot. I can't use a zipper foot. I don't know why. I'm terrible at it. So there you go. So for our zipper, I have our bag. This is going to be face side up. You're going to take your zipper and you're going to take what would be the zipper side of it and turn it towards the bottom, face it down. So you can't zip it right now because the zipper is hidden, if that makes any sense. You're going to line it up with the top edge. I'll show you a little bit closer in just a second. You're going to line up at the top edge, and then you're going to take your liner fabric and put it face down on top of that zipper and line it up. Try to line it up with your bottom fabric, and then I'll clip it with those clips. I'll bring you in and show you. Give me 1 second. Okay, let me bring you in to show you. What is she talking about? Okay, so we have our quilted face, our zipper. See how it's face down? The zipper is face down. It's lined up. And then you're going to set this on top of it and line it up. And then we're going to take that to the machine. Okay, so basically I'm going to rest the foot so that it's nestled between this edge and where the zipper is. And it's the zipper's raised up. So the zipper, the foot won't go that way. It wants to naturally kind of stay in the track. So I'll bring you in to show you closer what I'm talking about. Hope you can see it. See how the zipper is on this side of it? When I sew, it's going to want to stay to that side of it. So I do a back track, and then it kind of just follows the natural pattern because of that zipper. I'm doing this one-handed, so no judgment. But see how it kind of just follows it? It's got a bumper on the side, so it can't really go out of place. This is terrible. Sorry, guys. Somebody asked me how I sew a zipper. There it is. And then I just remove the clip. And then, just make sure I'm lined back up and finish her off. Okay, and then when I get to the end of the zipper, I do a little backtrack. There we go. Let's go back to the table. But you can see it's sewn here, and it should have caught both of our pieces. Now let's go do it one more time. So I just did a little stitch right here that runs the whole thing, and it pins those together so that when you run your zipper, I did a little hole there on accident. When you run your zipper down, it doesn't get the fabric stuck in it like a sleeping bag from the 1980s that you can't get in and out of. So that's that. The next step is putting that, hopefully you're pointed at my table. I didn't even think about that part. No, you're not. Okay. Let me show you again how we do the zipper. So this is our second, this is the back, now that this is the front. So the back has some stray little threads on here. That's okay. We'll flip her over. It's face up. So our batting is facing our table. We have it face up. You're going to take your zipper and flip it over again. So our purples are going to be facing each other. And we're going to line it up with the top edge of that purple fabric. So you can kind of see it sticking out. I'm going to take our liner fabric, the other fabric, the inside, and put it on top. So the zipper pull was on that side last time. Now it's on this side, but it is facing down still. I'm going to put this on here and make sure I'm good and lined up. And grab a couple clips to clip that so that it holds it while I go sew that line again. So same thing, I'm going to line my foot up and zipper with the foot. Give this thing a stitch so that it's all held together, just like I showed you last time. So I'm going to run over there and stitch that. And then I'll bring you to the iron so I can show you what we do next. All right, I sewed right there again, just like I told you. Now I'm going to check just to make sure that I caught both my fabrics. So if I go to this side, I'm good. It caught the zipper the whole way through. I'm going to flip it and make sure I caught both pieces all the way through. So sometimes you can go off the track and then your fabrics won't be where they're supposed to be. So I'm going to open this up. This is the side I already ironed, and I'm going to iron this side now. I go from the back and I just press it so that it's nice and clean and open. Get a little clean edge so it's nice and pressed. Flip it over. I'm going to do the same thing here to pull all that fabric away from your zipper. It's very hard to film yourself doing tutorials like this because these are things that just are so easy normally, but when I'm trying to show you guys, I kind of look like a yeah. So this is a great time to cut little strings that maybe you have tucked from your sewing or whatever. There we go. As you catch them, because this is going to like be our finished edge here soon. So just catch your threads, get them out of there. Beautiful. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to run this side a stitch to hold the fabric. So let me show you how we do that. Okay, So I'm going to take it and I line this edge of my foot, the inside edge, with my purple fabric. It's about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can do it kind of wherever you want that you think looks clean. I do a back stitch and then I just follow it all the way down. Biggest thing, make sure both of your fabrics are not like tucked into each other or anything funky, because this can happen. You get to the edge, back stitch. That's it. Okay, so now our bag is getting there, you guys. Let's take it to the table and I'll show you kind of how we're going to cut our zipper and make this into an actual bag now. But here's our 2 stitch lines for you. See, there's a stitch line on each side of our zipper and it just holds our fabric pretty and clean away from it. Okay, let's go over there. So now we're going to put our bag together. So we have like what looks sort of like a bag, except there's these giant problems here called the sides are not attached. So I'm going to take my 2 insides and put them together, and causes my 2 outsides to go together. Make sure your pocket, I'm going to put another pin in there because it's kind of flapping at the top and I don't want that part to get missed when I sew because I did my pin too low. So I'm going to move my pin just so it's a little higher up so it catches. Okay, that should be good. So we have our 2 sides together here. Oh, we need to trim the zipper first. Hold up. Hold up, y'all. Important stuff going on here. I just skipped a step. We don't need this excess zipper. It just gets in the way here. So what we're going to do is I use a rotary cutter. Some people use just their scissors. I'm going to leave a tiny bit off the side and I'm just going to cut it off, you guys. Ta-da. We need to be able to flip this bag. I have another little thread coming off. Trim as you go, trim as you go. Open your zipper up and bring it over here so that when we go to flip our bag, you're good to go. Then cut this side. So you have just a tiny bit hanging off again. And the zipper is gone. Now, it used to be the scariest part to me, and I was like, you know, it's just part of it. Now we're going to take our faces and put them together. I can do another tutorial of this once I have it down a little bit more. So we have our 2 pieces here and our 2 pieces here facing each other. And we're going to lay this down. Okay, so our zipper, we want what I call the extra part of it to go into the outside. So I want to fold it so all this bulk is going to be in the inside of your bag versus the outside of your bag. So you basically are folding it into like a V and putting all the bulk into the bottom. Then make sure your tops are lined up and your bottoms look good, and we're going to give it a clip. You can pin this as well. I just feel like clipping works better. We are going to sew right through that zipper to secure it. Same thing on the other side. I want to make sure all our bulk of our zippers is going towards our liner. So line up your edges right here and make sure all your bulk zipper is facing towards your inside fabric. If any part of this doesn't make sense, ask me in the comments. I can at least explain it a little bit better. It's hard as I'm walking because I'm just talking to myself. So I have my 2 sides clipped. Now, our sides should line up nicely here. And you can pin, which is what I'm going to do so that I can sew through it. I like to pin it so that my edges are together and that I catch that pocket in the right spot. So I'm going to pin there, pin my corners together. And when I sew this, I'm going to do like a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So just kind of pin it all the way around. As much as you need. It's up to you. Sometimes I don't pin. I do on these, but sometimes on other things, I just don't pin. I just go for it. You just want to make sure everybody's catching everybody. Okay. So my one side is together. This is my outside. So for the inside, this is where we're going to sew and leave that gap that I was talking about and did accidentally on that first bag. So same thing, I pin just enough to hold it all in place. I'm also talking through this like I know what I'm doing, And I've made bags like this before, but this is the first time doing this size with this zipper, with this. So, okay, I'm lining my bottoms up. But this is where you're going to leave that 4-inch gap at the bottom for us to be able to flip it. Almost everything that you sew is sewn from the inside and flipped. It's just what you learn to do very early on. If you're a sewer, a seamster, a sewer. I hate that. Anyways, okay, so I have pins the whole way around. I have our zippers clipped so that they hold where I want them as they go through the machine, but I'll take those off as we go, and I have our gap at the bottom. So let's go to the machine and I'll show you how to show you how to sew this, wow, together. So I'm going to set myself up with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. This machine is not from the US, so it doesn't have a 1/2 inch. It's got millimeters and stuff, which I don't speak that language. So there you guys go. That's a 1/2 inch. You're going to go to your liners where we have that 4-inch gap, and you're going to start on one side, this side. Put your foot down, and we're going to backtrack to tighten that so it doesn't tear when we go flip it. Some people sew off the side. I don't find that necessary. So just sew, and then you're going to get to that corner, pivot. I need one more stitch. Pivot it, boop, and then go again up the side. I sew through pins. You don't have to. You can take them out as you go. Okay, so I'm getting to where my zipper is. I'm going to take my clip off and I'm going to hold this with my finger. Now my zipper is a little too far, and so it's going to run into my foot. Can I move it back? We're going to just be okay. Okay, so just keep going, slow over your zipper. Do not hit your zipper pull with your foot. It will literally make it so that you're going to have to take it to a machine shop to get it fixed. So go slow. Okay, I'm through my zipper now. Continue on. Pivot it and continue on. Just caught a thread, no big deal. You get to that corner, pivot it, and you're good to go again. Now I'm making sure that my front fabric and back fabric and my pocket fabric all are getting caught when I sew, which is why I did a 1/2 inch instead of 1/4 or 3/8. Now sometimes I use a walking foot so it doesn't catch my batting. I should have put it back on, but I didn't. It's fine. So I just lifted up and my needle was down. Okay, we're to our next zipper. Again, take your clip off, but hold it. And make sure to go slow. Some people backtrack to get a zipper that's really tight. I don't find you need it. All right, we're through all that batting, so we should be good to go now. And then we're at the end where we're going to backtrack and leave that gap. Okay, so now we have everything is sewn around the entire edge except for right here. Let me take you over and show you what we do next. I know it's a lot of back and forth. I'm hoping you guys can see. Okay, I'm going to take my pins out now, all the way around. There's pins inside, so when we flip this, you need to be careful because we do have the pins in the pocket, so don't stab yourself. But all these pins that were on the outside are good to come out. I'm going to go where we had that gap and make sure I know where that is. We got 2 tools we need for this part. I got too much fabric down here, guys. You need something with a point. This is a ceramics tool. They also sell corner pushers. Just find yourself something pointy, but not so pointy that you're going to stab through your fabric. So that's why I use something that's kind of like a dull pointed wood. I'm going to trim the corners off. So where you pivoted, we don't want that bulk. So all I'm going to do is cut a notch like that out of each of our corners. Don't cut off your sewing. Just cut the excess. This just makes it so that when we flip it, you can push the corners out nicely and have clean corners. Okay. It's time to flip it, y'all. Like I said, be careful because there are pins in there from your pocket. I leave 4 inches because my hand can fit in there. If you have a smaller hand, you're good. My zipper, remember we opened it so I can reach all the way through. If your zipper is closed and you forgot that part, you're in trouble. I don't even know how to come back from that, you guys. I am going to find my pins with my hand. I think there were 4. And pull them out. There might be 5. So I don't stab myself when turning it. If you trust yourself enough to turn it with them in there, go for it. I see one here. And I can feel one here. There's 3. So I found all 3. Some people would sew the pocket before attaching it, but I sometimes don't catch the line and then you end up with this weird line. Anyways, that's the way I do this. So reach through. You're going to grab one of your corners where your batting is with your hand, like a puppet, and pull it through. So now the bulk is going to come out that hole, and you flip it like a sock. So our hole is up here now, and our whole bag has come out. I reach my hand in. Sometimes I shake it instead. Just depends on what you want to do here. And you're going to push the corners with your finger just enough to where you'll be able to fit that tool in there and just do the fine tuning with it, that little tool. Okay. Tool's going in, and all I'm doing is very carefully pushing it in there to remove that bulk in the corners. So like, see how there's some like bulky stuff going on? There's batting, so you gotta be careful, but you're just gonna slightly give it a push, and it'll help push all that bulk out. Same on this corner. If you have very pointy fingernails, you might be good too. Okay, so our bag is now outside. Our liner is outside. We have a hole in our liner. We need to run over to the sewing machine and shut that up. Close it up. So it's got a hole. You just want to fold this under. If you want to run to the iron and make sure it's really good and sealed, you can do that. But you're going to run a quick stitch to catch that fabric from here to here. Back stitch, straight stitch, back stitch to hold that shut. Our hole was here to about here. It's all tucked in now, and there's a nice little clean stitch. Okay, so now what's next? We're going to put the inside in the inside where it belongs, you guys. And then we'll mess with our zipper. So I push it into the corners as best I can. If you want to use your corner pusher to make sure it's really good and clean, you totally can. So now we have this. Our zipper is going to have a little bulk right here. This is where I will take my corner pusher and kind of push it out gently. If you hit where the zipper is, see how it's kind of like funky? Just take that corner pusher and just push up on your zipper a tiny bit, and it will pop out just enough to make it not look rounded. It becomes more like a corner. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it's just enough. You can do this from the inside too if you prefer, but see, it's just a little more cornery. This side is where it's going to zip. You have that excess, but it just kind of closes in there, so it's not a big deal. Okay, zipper is shut, you guys. Is there anything I'm missing? I don't think so. That is our finished sleeve. It's got a front and a back, has a beautiful little pocket, and a zipper at the top. Does it fit? Let's take our Bible and find out. Moment of truth, you guys. Okay, it fits side to side. We're good. It drops down in there perfectly. Boom. It zips shut. Okay. I feel like there's got to be something wrong because that was far too easy to get it right the first time. So it's got a little wiggle room, so you could probably put a little notebook or something in there with it. Our pocket on the front is a little gapy. I could see why somebody would like maybe do like a little stitch, like maybe here, and do pens and something else on the side, but you could probably leave that or add a tiny bit of elastic into it. So that might be something that I would adjust. But either way, your pens, I hope this is closed. Yeah, it's closed. Your pens could go in there if you had any, I don't know, I'm just putting anything I have near here in there. They're good. Okay. Oh, we need a Little Hill label because we do have a Little Hill label on everything. I will show you guys how we make these. It's an iron-on on a piece of like ribbon, essentially. So let me take my little Bible out of there now. And I like to put it either up here or down here on your pocket. It just depends on what you think looks better. If you like it to be a little more eye-catching, I would do it there. I'm probably going to put it right here on the pocket so it's not so noticeable, like in your face, little hill, because this is going to be a gift for somebody. Plus, that's a little easier for me to take to the machine to do. So I'm going to find center on here. We're at 10.5-ish. So 5 1/4 would be center. And then I'm going to come down, I don't know. Let me flip this and do it this way. Maybe an inch down I'll go. Inch down at 5 1/4 should be center. And I'll put it right there. That looks good to me. All I do is pin it on each side and then make sure it's straight. And then I just run a little stitch on each side of it. Boom, like that. Make sure I'm lined up. Put a little pin on this side. Then I take it to the sewing machine and just do a quick stitch to hold it in place. But I like that placement. I think it is good. It is straight this way. I love that the inside is this pattern. I think it's really cute. Okay, let me go stitch that really quick. I still think there could be a way to tighten this up. I just got to figure it out. But I think it's okay. Let me go sew that. Okay, I did a little stitch on each side of it. I'm just going to trim off any extra thread to make it look clean and pretty. Take my pins out. There y'all go. That is my finished Bible sleeve or iPad sleeve. You could slip your iPad in there and it could be protected. I'm thinking like if you're like going on a flight, you could slide something in here really easy. It's got padding. I could maybe buy a thicker batting, but I don't think it needs it. And then the inside is this beautiful floral. I really want to do one that this is patchwork quilting squares, but I wanted to start a little simpler this time. So that's why I did it like this. But what do you guys think? I'm pretty impressed that this fits right off the bat. I don't have to re-measure it at the 12 by 14. We ended up making a very nice Bible sleeve for this size. If you're going to go with a smaller Bible, definitely need to downsize it. But what do you think? I love the pattern. The person I was making it for likes more like farmhousey, boho vibes in purple. So I was like, yeah, I think we kind of got the right vibe going here. What do you think? Anyways, if you guys, my normal tutorials are going to be a whole lot clearer. This is just kind of how I come up with stuff that we put in the shop. Is the reason to my madness and how we do things. So there you guys go. I hope you enjoyed coming along. If you think this is something you want to see offered in the shop, are these kinds of styles, let me know. I just like the zipper more than a big bulky ribbon. That's just me. And I prefer ribbons, or I don't prefer ribbons, zippers versus just an open-ended sleeve that things can fall out of. Who's with me? So, right? That just to me is a little, you can leave this one open, I guess. All in all, I'm pleased with it. I think it's cute and would be really cute for a little gift. So that's what she's going to be. Anyways, thank you for coming along. I'm not going to put stuff below on how we made this because that was like crazy nonsensicalness. That's why I don't sell patterns, just because it's nuts. But I'll do a few more like come along with me sewing things to kind of go through my process on how we do stuff. If you like this, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment. If you're new, subscribe. This is not our normal type of video, but I figured you guys always say you want to come along with me for everything, and this is how my brain works. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. So cute. Anyways, oh, here's the final product, by the way. There we go. And it's got the zipper on the top. Right? Super cute. We'll stick some pens in here. Some little, like, the little prayer cards. Keep those in there for people that need it. And we're good to go. Anyways, thanks for coming along, guys.